for the roll call, no? So, okay, so please inform your other classmates that they should use the TIP email to enter this meeting. Otherwise, I will deny their entry. Okay. So, okay, so do you see the presentation? Do you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so again, welcome to CE511 class. So I am Engineer Jerome Tajosa, your instructor for this course. So for today, I will just be our meeting will just be a bit quick. So we will just be discussing the some information about the course uh, and the course policies, etc., course requirements, and all. So our lecture proper will be on Wednesday. Okay, and this time on Wednesday we will start at 7:30 a.m. So okay, so course description here. So this course, excuse me. So please turn off your microphones, please, in order to avoid some noises during the discussion. Okay, so course description. This course is a required course on design of steel structures. This course covers general discussions on aspects of structural steel design, including design philosophies, material properties, analysis and design of members subjected to axial tension and compression, flexure, torsion, and shear, and analysis and design of connections. So here I am currently flashing our home page. So I'm not really a fan of aesthetics, so pretty much as simple as it gets. So here's some a short profile about me. So I am a full-time instructor at the CE department of the IPQC. So here's my LinkedIn profile. You may view it. You may view it. Then you may join the Facebook group provided here. The online availability hours, usually it is during our class schedule. So I will change it later on. Okay. So by the way, for those who do not, for those who have me first time as their instructor, no. So I am a BSc graduate from UP Diliman, batch 2015, and currently I am a candidate for the master's degree in structural engineering at the same school. Okay. So let me go with the syllabus. Although I will revise this, okay, since there are some items that I have to omit here. So this so you may view it in your canvas as I talk. Okay. So we have the references, we have the course description, the course objectives, course outcomes, student outcomes, and we have the topics here. So I will edit this later on. Okay. So let me go to the modules. So by the way, if you have some questions, you may type it in our chat box in order to and then I will look at it from time to time to answer them. Okay. All right. So first about the course. So I have already read this earlier on now on our homepage, which is the same. Our course objective. This course aims to first describe and differentiate the criteria, philosophies, and processes in structural steel design. So if you have already taken a design course, for example, reinforced concrete, so you might now be familiar with the general process of structural design. Although we will still be discussing it here on Wednesday. So and then we will fit it with the material of our choice right now, which is structural steel. So next, enumerate and describe the materials used in structural steel construction and their characteristics. So mainly the structural steel itself. So we will talk about it. We will also talk about the accessories that come with them, such as bolts or welds and other materials. But mainly, we will be discussing the structural steel itself, say material. Next, to demonstrate the steps in analysis and design of structural steel members considering strength and serviceability requirements following relevant code provisions. So, analysis means we verify the capacity or the strength of the member. And we say design based on the demand or the loads to be considered, what would be the best section, for example, that we need to use. Then, in analysis and design, we consider both strength, so strength in terms of forces or stresses, and serviceability in terms of, say, deflections or vibrations or drifts. So those. Next, demonstrate the steps in analysis and design of structural steel member connections, considering strength and serviceability requirements following relevant code provisions. And lastly, is to apply concepts in analysis and design of these members and connections in designing an entire steel structure. So in this course, we will be having our design project. Although you don't have to worry much as since we only have 6 weeks to finish the course, we will try to lighten it as much as possible. So first thing is that the design project will be by depending on the number of students, it can be either by pairs or by threes, by trios. So as of now, there are 45 students in this particular section S3. But due to late enrollment, it may increase to some to a higher number of students. So there you go. Okay. Course outcomes. So well, it just reflects the course objectives. No? So the perspective is just different. So I will not discuss this further. Student outcomes. So this is in line with the ABET student outcomes. No? So as we know, our school is ABET accredited. So it is it is required that our courses must be aligned with their must have its student outcomes aligned with ABET student outcomes. Okay, so I see no questions so far. Okay, course requirements. So, well, although there will be more coursework than usual here in this course, but then we do not always meet every time. So it means you can do most of them at your own pace. However, deadlines must be taken note. So for example, if a given activity has this deadline, you should submit it before that deadline. Okay? So we have some course requirements. No? So we have the assignments, usually written reports. So I will have some reading assignment and then you have to make a report about it. Okay? So that would be it. So for example, in this coming module, module 1, uh, I have some assignments there. Okay. Next, we have simulations. Since, excuse me, since some of the concepts are in structural steel design are a bit hard to explain without physical demonstration, so there will be some simulations that we will do. So we will be using some open source softwares for validating some of the concepts learned in this course. So particularly in analysis and design of members, we will be doing some simulations. Problem sets. So uh, in order to practice problem solving, so there will be some problem sets per module. So usually they are just book problems, although I will appreciate it if you will not just search the solution manual. And by the way, in this course, we will be using the local code, the 2015 NSCP. But in our textbook, we are using AIS6 steel construction manual. So I avoid, as much as possible, I avoid using the AISC steel manual. Okay? And the solutions in the solution manual use the AISC manual. So I will spot it immediately if you will just get your solutions from the solution manual. Okay, quizzes. So usually I will announce it a bit ahead of time, no? So maybe 3 days before or no. So usually this would be at the end of a given module. So since we have 6 modules for the entire term here, we, so quizzes will be practically every week. Although in face-to-face classes, I avoid as many quizzes as possible. In online class, uh, we are required to give assessment task at the end of every module. So meaning we will be having quiz at every end of a module. So I will try to lighten the content of the quizzes as much as possible. So usually just 2 problems and some conceptual questions. That would be it. Okay. Major examinations is another thing. So although it kind of hurt, but for every 2 weeks we will be having major examination, prelim, midterm, and final. Although personally, I'm against this one. It would be better to have just 2 major examinations for the entire 6 weeks. However, since this is a regular semester, we had no choice but to have the three major examinations. Okay. And lastly, we have the design project, final project. So this will be a culminating, I indicated a pair project, but then this may change. Okay. It may be three or whatever, it depends on the number of students, which aims to apply the concepts learned during the course on the design of an actual structure. So the format for the final project is similar to the capstone design project. However, there will only be one context, structural context only, and I will try uh, to lessen the required minimum number of constraints and trade-offs. So the specific guidelines for the final project, I will give it at a later date. Okay, so I will try to give the guidelines for this, say on Wednesday or on Friday, in order for you to start during this one. So by the way, I practice that for every period. So during the face-to-face classes, prelim, midterm, final, you will be required to submit uh, draft draft the final project, but I will only specify the chapters that you need to submit. So for example, during the prelim period, I will only check chapters, say chapter 1 and 2, and then for the midterm, the revised chapter 1 and 2, as well as chapters 3 and the analysis part of 4, and at the final period, it will be the entire final project. Okay. But since this we only have 6 weeks, again, I'll be adjusting the manner in which you submit this one. Okay, so you don't have to worry much about this. Okay, so I will check the chat box for some questions. Okay, I see there's still no questions so far. So again, if you have some questions, you may type it in the chat box, and then I will try to answer them. Okay. Then for the grade uh, grade calculations, so it will be this one. So it's pretty much the same as what we do other courses. No? So for example, the prelim is 50% class standing plus 50% prelim exam, and then the class standing is 70-30, 70 for the quiz, 30 for all the other outputs. Okay. Same thing with the midterm, and then this one is pretty much common to other courses. Midterm grade is 1/3 prelim plus 2/3 of the preliminary midterm. Okay, and then the final grade calculation, it's also the same. But then the class standing calculation for the final is different. 70% will be for the final project, 20% for the quiz, 10% for the other outputs. So personally, during face-to-face classes, in the final period in still design, I do not really give a quiz. However, I said earlier that at every end of the module, quizzes are required to be given. Okay, that's why I had to put this one. Okay, and then we have the TIP grading scheme. So well, it's just the same for the other courses. Okay, still no questions. Okay, so let me proceed with the next part. Any questions so far? Okay, so we still have quizzes. Okay, the end of every module. Okay. So we still have quizzes. Okay. So textbook. Our main textbook is still Design 6th edition by Segi. So I mainly use this together with one of the references, the Steel Structures by Salmon. So for those who do not have the a an access to a copy, whether hard copy or soft copy, I will try to provide you with a soft copy. However, you you may only use them for this course. So meaning you are not allowed to disseminate it further to other people who do not take this course. Okay, so it's just to limit the amount of the number of copies of these textbooks. Okay, so other books, mainly I also use, apart from Segi, I also use Salmon, this one, and then I also use McCormack and Ambrose, but however, very limited. The use of this is very limited. For codes and standards, I mainly use the NSCP 2015. Okay. Well, most of the structural steel design code provisions in NSCP are also based on AISC Steel Construction Manual. However, this one is more tailor fit for local use. So for example, in AISC, they use English units since it is based in the United States. However, in the Philippines, we use the SI. We mainly use SI. So that's one of the differences between NSCP and the AASC Steel manual. And apart from that, for the catalog of steel sections, we use the ASEP Steel Handbook. So it is best if you don't, again, if you don't have an access to copies of these books, I will try to give you a soft copy. However, again, the use will only be for this course. We only be limited for this course. Okay. Online references. So we have the website of the AASC. AASC means American Institute of Steel Construction. Okay. And then the steel tools, some of the tools that you may use in steel design, you may download it here. And we have AASC has a YouTube channel named AASC Education. So some of the videos that we present here uh, come from came from this channel. Okay, and then we have the resources courtesy of the TIP library. So we have remote access to this. So if you want to find some papers or some references, you may explore this. Okay. So no questions so far. So let me go next. Course policy. So this one is would still be under revisions, no? So class expectations. So this course is partially asynchronous and synchronous. When we say asynchronous, it is at your own pace. Synchronous, pretty much like a face-to-face class. So we all meet at the same time. So, but then for the most part, two-thirds of the meeting week will be asynchronous. Only one-third will be synchronous in this case. Okay. However, it is expected that all students will be able to attend the conference meetings during the entire course. So I will discuss this later on. Submission of written reports and problem sets. Well, this one is from summer, so I have not changed this yet. But so submission of the coursework will always be at the end of the module after the quizzes. So usually up to 11:59 p.m. of the last day of the module. Okay. So you may submit anytime you are finished. I don't mind. So I will discuss more about the submission policies. And lastly, academic dishonesty of any form, including but not limited to cheating and or plagiarism, is not tolerated in this course. So although we are already conducting online classes, so there is a higher risk for others to commit academic dishonesty, but well, it is now a question of your morals in this case. So if you think you will be successful by through cheating or plagiarism, well, you may risk doing so. But if you are caught, well, you may fail the course. Okay. So I have seen many students fail just because they committed academic dishonesty. So I will discuss more of this later. Okay. So we have basis as to why do we have to fail some of the students who were caught cheating or plagiarizing anything. Okay. So still no questions so far. Okay. Next conference meeting. So only for this week we will meet twice. No? So today and on Wednesday. For the succeeding weeks, we will only be meeting once a week. However, we will maximize our class time. So since we are 7:30 to 1:30, we'll be maximizing them. Okay? Don't worry, I usually give breaks, no, between between during the lecture, no. So online conferences are held every first meeting of the week. So I will revise this a bit. So well, every first meeting, so meaning every Monday we will be having online meetings via either Google Meet or the big blue button. So Google Meet, it is the one we are using today. Uh, Big blue button is the conferencing tool embedded in Canvas LMS. Okay, so for now, I will stick with Google Meet because I am more used to this. Okay. Then the address for a given conference will be posted in the announcement portion of this platform. And then important, use the IP email address only upon entering the meeting. That is to ensure that everything is documented. Okay. Since the admin are checking the usage of the TIP email addresses. So although personally I don't mind using personal email or whatever. However, it is a requirement from the higher ups. So that would be it. Okay. Next, all conference recordings will be available after the meetings. So this one I may omit this one because Big Blue Button does not allow, as far as I know, does not allow downloading the recordings. Unlike Google Meet, where I can save the recordings. No, that's why I'm having second thoughts using Big Blue Button. Okay. In case you will not be able to join the meeting for any valid reason, please inform me through email. So the email, I will flash it later on, or through a discussion thread. So I will show it later on. Okay. Submission policies. So deadline of the courseworks are all set to the end of, I will revise that, end of each week instead of period. Okay. end of each week. And then for questions, they have their own respective discussion threads. Then for other matters, so I mentioned earlier that we need to have an access to a copy of NSCP and the ASEP Steel Handbook. So if you do not have an access, I will give you a copy. So usually in face-to-face classes, this should be hard copies. However, since we are already online, you may use soft copies. Okay. Then please join this Facebook group. So you may click the link here. So some announcements. So I understand that you may not always be able uh, to to connect to Canvas. No? You will not be always be able to access Canvas, especially for those who are mobile data users. So I make sure that I announce some. If I announce something in Canvas, I also announce it in Facebook. Okay, so I announce it through this group. Okay. Next, quizzes and major exams will be announced at least 1 week ahead of time. So again, I will revise this. Quizzes would be announced at least 3 days ahead of time. Major exam, well, at least 1 week. Okay. And then I will also state the coverage of the assessment task. Okay. And it is recommended, it is expected that modules and the other related courseworks like uh, homeworks, problem sets, simulations related to the coverages are already completely read and submitted respectively. Okay. Next, subscribe to the AASC Education YouTube channel. So some of the videos here are also used. Although you don't have to worry since I will still be teaching this one. Okay. Lastly, download and learn how to use these softwares. These softwares will be used for simulations. So MD Solids and Mastan. However, for the design course, you are recommended to use a uh, a more sophisticated software like STAAD or ETABS. Okay. So any questions? Again, no questions so far. Okay. Next, some notes on academic dishonesty. So it is again, I stated earlier that you will be accomplishing your courseworks and all your assessment tasks without resorting to acts of academic dishonesty such as cheating and plagiarism. So this one, so is in compliance with TIP Memorandum P04 series of 2017-2018. So I will give you a copy of, so actually in the Facebook group I have a copy of this one. So you may search it. Okay. So in order for this, we have for any coursework to be done here. So for all submissions like problem sets, assignments, simulation reports, quizzes, exams, academic integrity pledge should be written and signed. So this is an example of the format. Okay. Then you have your signature, your name, and your student number. And then apart from this one, if you do some reports or assignments, simulation reports, and other courseworks, if you use some references, you should cite them properly. So in technical sciences, we use the APA or the Harvard format for the citation and listing. And at the same time, if you use images, say from Google Image or from whatever website, you should also cite the source of the images that you use. Okay, right. So next, okay. Well, so this is why. So it's just the content is just the same as that of the homepage. Okay, so the latter part of the course introduction would just be about the TIP vision emission and other related things. So I will not discuss this further. Okay. So do you have any questions? You may turn on your microphones. Do you have any questions? Hello. Do you have any more questions?
Nothing,
None,
sir.
sir.
None, sir.
Okay. So okay, in order to maximize our time, so since we have 45 students and I think we will be uh, there'll be an addition of I think around 5 students maximum per chapter. So I already talked about the design project, right? So uh, the design project is pretty much like the capstone design. However, we will only be focusing on structural steel design. Okay, so the format is the same as capstone, but we will only be doing steel design in this case. So 45 students. So okay, so we may okay, so let's have some voting. No? So how many members per group do you want? Is it two or three? You may turn on your mic.
Sir, 3.
Three, sir.
Three.
Three, sir.
Yan
3,
tayo eh.
3, 3, 3.
Mas marami, doon tayo. No? So sige, madali, madali tayong kausap. So sige, so we will be doing the project in threes. Okay? So okay, so sige. I will give you 20 minutes and then please please type in the chat box kung sino-sino yung magkakagroup. Okay? So group yourselves into three. Okay? So type it in the chat box. So if one member of the group has already typed it, please do not let the other members of the same group to type the same names. Okay? So para lang hindi tayo mag-double count. Okay? So I'll give you 10 minutes. I think so. It's 9:20 already, so up to 9:30. So sige, I'll give you 10 minutes. If you have your groups already, you may type it in the chat box and I will record them. Okay, so you may start grouping yourselves.
Sir, question, sir.
Okay, yes. Sige, sige.
Sir, yung sa mga late, sir, paano po attendance po namin?
I will call you again later. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so sige, para mas madali. I will just do a roll call again for those who were not called late earlier on. So, Acopio, Maravillo, and Villegas, I already recorded you as present since nag-chat naman kayo dito. Okay. Habitan also. Okay. So, sige. Bahado. You hear?
Present, sir.
Okay. Beho.
Present, sir.
Belnas. Belnas. Okay. Boras. Boras. Chavez. Chavez. I think nandito naman. Okay, Clavera.
Present, sir.
Okay. Okay, Legazpi also present. Luto. Luto. Not here. Navidad. Navidad. Back.
Sir.
Okay. Idea.
Present, sir.
Sabiduria. Sabiduria. Okay, so si Luto nandito na. Okay. San Antonio. San Antonio. Yeah. Stelieza. Stelieza. Pa. Urgelius. Urgelius. Okay, so Teresa present. Urgelius present also. Vinagrera. Vinagrera. Yeah. Okay, you may continue with the groupings. So I'll give you until 9:30 to finalize your groupings. Okay. So we already have one group. Two groups rather.